Good morning, friends. Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja here. Today is a very auspicious day, Ashtami. Luckily, the last time I took a session last Wednesday, it was the Navratra and the Chetni Chand and a couple of more occasions that day. And as luck would have it, we planned it after 2 or 3 days or so. But I had a lot of other commitments to fulfill. So ultimately, the day fell on Wednesday. Again, auspicious day on two counts. Number one, it is the Ashtami festival in North India and much of other parts of India as well. Along with that, it is a new financial year 2021 starting. Uh, uh, Maybe since childhood, my dad used to say, "Don't feel happy on 1st Jan. Your new year starts on 1st April." So accounting wise, books wise, business wise, professional wise, our new financial year starts today. So happy new financial year to all of you. I really hope that this new year brings in a lot of good luck for you. Obviously, I always believe that if the start is good, then the year will be good for sure. The reason being that today is Ashtami and it is a lucky day. So I sincerely hope that new financial year 2021 brings those errors in front of you which marred your progress in 1920 and didn't let you grow, or rather your by balance sheet grow by much in 1920. So I hope you overcome all those factors which impede your progress. So obviously, I also wish that you expand your assets and limit your liabilities. I'm talking in the financial language like a CA, so that you have more of fat in your balance sheet. I don't wish fat otherwise in your bodies, but I do wish a lot of fat in your balance sheet. I wish that all of you have a, say, fatty balance sheet. And I also earnestly desire and wish that you increase your savings and decrease your expenses so that you have more of profit coming in. And also I expect more of you, all of you or rather, make full use of all the deductions available by the government of India. Again, the disparity between the new tax regime and the old tax regime, that is a matter together for any different day altogether. So we can say make full use of a deduction so that we can have a healthy balance sheet, and of course with a lesser tax liability. So I won't be wasting much of time. I'll be taking up the queries provided to me by the WDA team. First of all, thankful to the admin team of Abhishek, Anand, Anantpal, and all others who have made it possible for me to be here. So I took the, for many of you who didn't tune in that day, the videos are all there on the WDA forum also and on my Facebook wall also. So one of the video was 2 hours. It got abruptly cut off because of the network problems, and the next video was around 20 minutes or so. So almost a 2.5 hour session we did that day. I covered about almost half the part in practice management session, and the remaining half was almost half was on the finance part. So I always say that the three things I lecture on. The third aspect I just took in part, bits and parts that day, the medical legal part. So all these three links are very closely interconnected with each other, and without the knowledge of either, definitely it is no use. Why do I say that? The reason being that practice man, all of us are in profession. We may call it a noble profession, no doubt. It is a noble profession, but as we see that any profession or business, when it has an IND, I mentioned the IND, there are two INDs. The number one IND is the income and the expense part. So if any business or profession has an income and expense part, definitely that at the end of the day is a business. Wherever there is a balance sheet involved, that is a business. So we really ought to understand that part, that if there is a business, at the end of the day, the zeal is that yes, we should earn more money. Any business, anyone always would want it to be profitable from day one. All of us, many of the queries are also interlinked, so I'm just building up a base along with that. So all of us would want that the business should be profitable, and sometimes in a zeal to do that, we cross on the wrong side of the law. That is where the role of medical legal aspects and ethics comes in. It tells us not to tread those paths which are dangerous, which fall out of the ambit of our say medico legal rule book prescribed by, I'll say, prescribed by the Dental Council of India, and which we are supposed to follow surely. And when at the end of the day, if you are say earned a lot in a rightful way, in a correct way, legal way, and if you don't know how to make money out of that own money, all that comes to a big knot. So I always say in my finance sessions, practice management without the knowledge of finance is a big zero. I was lucky. My dad, obviously, I have my MBA finance along with me. Most of you know that I am a triple MBA in marketing, hospital management, human resource, and finance. Qualifications are four, but it are from three different universities. One of them is a dual one. So obviously, I have my MBA finance, but my biggest contribution of my financial knowledge came from my late dad. So who was with me 24/7, 365 till last year, till 30th June 2019. Unfortunately passed away on that day, on Sunday 30th June 2019. So, but whatever I have learned from him, he has been the guru of almost say 50% of CAs of Ludhiana and Punjab. I belong to Ludhiana. It is almost the industrial capital. Exact capital is Chandigarh, by the way, but it is the industrial capital of Punjab. It is almost centrally located in Punjab. So Ludhiana and Punjab, almost 50% CAs of pre-2005 era are my dad's students. So there is no reason why I shouldn't trust his word and what he has taught me. And obviously, I wanted to give up on this aspect when he passed away. But then, obviously, under the influence of mom, I'll say her words, or maybe a couple of friends also, I decided to continue on his legacy. So the reason is that if we don't have a knowledge of finance, we ought to learn it somehow. Because if we don't know how to earn money from our own money, it'll be waste. The past new financial year started today. The last 15 days we have been almost under a lockdown. Punjab, the malls were closed around 14th of Saturday, 14th of March. Obviously, all didn't follow or comply. The real compliance came from Sunday, 22nd March onwards, when it was a Janta curfew. So obviously, when these things happen, the last 15 days of March are the busiest days for any post office, any financial house, mutual fund houses, even banks, of course, that matter. I've seen long serpentine queues outside post offices. All of that business was lost. So the government didn't take even a minute to extend that day, last day to invest from 31st March to 30th June. So whatever you want to invest or you wanted to invest in the last 15 days, technically it is wrong. If you want to take the benefit of compounding or all other investments to the maximum possible, you ought to invest in the first 15 days of the year, which means 1st April to 15th April. Obviously, the conditions are not conducive right now for us to go out. But then what I mean to say, in a normal situation, obviously this is not going to last always. Once the situation gets normal, we are supposed to follow a normal schedule. And the normal schedule says that you have to invest practically within the first 15 days of the year to get the maximum advantage. I don't say that do every investment in PPF or do every investment in Sukanya or every in all those things. Do it a mixed bag as per you. But what do you do from 15th March to 31st March are the last 15 days of the year. So practically 50 days of the year have already elapsed out of 365 or 366 this time. So you are basically running helter and skelter on the call of a CA. CA calls up, उसमें NSE में कितना डाला, PPF में कितना डाला, इसमें कितना, ऐसा वहाँ डाल दो, ऐसे डाल दो. We just invest on the basis of hearsay, which is practically really wrong. We ought to realize that part. So I'll be taking those parts once we take up the query session. So I'll be starting with the queries in the sequence. They have noted on most of the queries, and let's hope that I'll be able to answer most of them. So the number one query is source of referral and feedback. Word I mentioned that I always advised all the clinicians or the self-employed guys who are running clinics that they should be adding 2 columns in their record keeping apart from the usual ones they have. Number one is the PSOR, patient source of referral. Number two, patient socio-economic background. These are the two factors which will help you decide in the longer run what or when do you need to take a plunge. They'll basically make you understand more of your the patient psyche, the patient reasons to choose you, and the patient's reason to come to you repeatedly. So there was any kindly share a format of sample case paper if you follow. See, there are a lot of ways to take a feedback. You can find n number of materials on the net. What I follow is a normal, simple format. My feedback form is 3 lines. Number one, it does not mention any name, age, sex, address, phone number, nothing. Number one, what did you like in our clinic? What you did not like in our clinic? Any suggestions for, or not even any suggestions for improvement. And it is a blind feedback. The patients are supposed to enter into the box without any details, without any signatures. There is no hard and fast that you have to follow this format. You can follow a MCQ based format. You can follow good, bad, excellent, very good, as you see in the restaurants. You can follow a mix of both. But what I have learned from my late dad is I prefer to keep things simple. So it's just a simple form. The half of the zeal goes away from the patient side if you just have say a long form in front of the patient and you're standing on top of the patient, please fill. So in my clinic such technique is not followed, so I prefer to keep it very simple. So sir, second question is, sir, please do give some tips for new practices, how to go about it, target group and charges. The only thing is the first point. Let's come to what do we call as new practice. I call that a new practice as 0 to 3 years, number one. So the first aspect in that is, let's divide it into 2 parts. Number one, the ones who are about to open up the practice and the ones who have already just opened up the practice, or maybe 3 to 6 months into the practice. So for the first one, I always say the first thing is that after graduation or post graduation, whatever you have done, you don't really have to jump to open up a clinic. Gone are the days. I opened up my clinic on 1st Jan 2000, 20 years plus, 20 years 3 months, exactly 20 years and 3 months today. So it was a long time. People used to open up clinic at that time because मैं बोर हो रहा था यार, clinic इसलिए खोल लिया मैंने. These were the kind of excuses people used to give to open up clinic. Definitely there are many other roles, but in today's competitive times when every area has at least 8 to 10 people sitting around you, and the criteria that you are opening up or not is a different one altogether. So you don't have to see that किस area में कम है या which area has less number of dentists so that we can open up there. I have listed down those 10 aspects. I always say any newcomer who is about to open, please consider yourself, evaluate yourself from those 10 aspects, whether you are mentally, whether you are ready to open up those aspects. Let's name those aspects. Number one is the mental aspect. Are you mentally ready? Are you mature enough to handle a tough situation and not panicking in case of an eventuality? Are you adept to handle it all? Not skill wise, not technique wise, but mental toughness wise, number one. Number two, financial condition. The ability to bear a loss or maybe a break for a few months initially. I'll merge the second category also here for this point. What the already opened up clinic will be facing is a lockdown scenario, a less number of OPD for some good continued of 2 to 3 to 4 months maybe. But then most of the established ones like me, or the middle road ones, maybe around say 3 to 10 or 3 to 12 years old practice, will also have almost a similar kind of a scenario. Nobody will have the OPD or a situation where the lockdown is lifted and we'll have a say barging in of the patients. Nobody will have that. Even the malls and the multiplexes will not have that. People will be skeptical of going to any rushy place or any crowded place. And in that aspect, I have a query later on this also. People will be again skeptical of going to a dentist or a healthcare sector also. Especially when the awareness has been spread all around that dentists are more likely to contaminate the environment via their aerosols. All of us are on phones. Even those who were not on phones, who used to check WhatsApp, As I told, I run a few WhatsApp groups. A few people message me, sir आपका टाइम ग्रुप का ऐसा है कि आप सुबह 6 से 11 बोलते हो. तो 11 o'clock is the time, sleeping time for most of the civilized people. I usually sleep around 10 or 10:30 max. Usually means 20 to 23 days a month. So what I mean to say is, those people who were opening up their WhatsApp after 11 p.m. and some of them message at 2 or 3 in the morning, they follow their dincharya after 11 p.m. or so. So even they are on net. So they are also doubly Google qualified. I'll call them a doubly Google qualified engineers these days. So people are aware. Then the third factor is social factor. A few people know in your area who can send you good ground for referrals in weekend times. You need to know a couple of people, at least a few people in your area, maybe various shopkeepers, boutique owners, whatever kind of demography you have in your practice. It's not exactly the only one category of shops or offices or this thing. So the fourth factor is the psychological factor, that many a times many of us will have nil patients, sometimes one or two patients in the day, sometimes one or two in 2 days. That should not dent your confidence. You ought to be, again, interlinked with point one, you should be mentally strong enough. You should be psychologically able to handle this scenario. Even if this is there, remember Ranbir Kapoor. रणबीर कपूर, अपना टाइम आएगा. हरि का टाइम आता, आपका भी टाइम आएगा. Then the fifth factor is skill wise. Clinic opening is not a small task these days. There is a cutthroat competition. You really need to be adept in most of the skills. There were terms used earlier, jack of all, master of none. I have modified that. You don't need to be either. You don't need to be a jack of all, and you don't need to be a master of none. You need to be a master of few in today's times. You can't only be one dimensional. You always got to offer 2 or 3 dimensions to your patient. You can't only be a periodontist and doing only perio jobs in your clinic. There is still not a culture. Maybe in some metros it is there. There is still not a culture in say India where you refer a patient for a job and will come back to you for the original work. The patient literally is grabbed up. Yes, we have that say unethical scenario around in our say country. I said with barring a few exceptions. Then after the fifth factor, skill wise, I'll mention the sixth factor is contact wise. You should have a good circle of dentist friends. Obviously, considering the scenarios, if the scenario is ethical around you, I just contradicted the point in the last point itself. So good dentist friends who can call you for referral, because you are not going to do everything in your clinic. Master of all is not possible. Master of none is not allowed. Jack of all is no longer valid. So master of few is the thing which is in vogue. So number 7, balance wise, you should be balanced in your life. You should be able to balance clinical, professional, personal, family life all together very perfectly. Because why I say that is because a new clinic always say demands complete and undivided attention. There are no half measures in that, absolutely. And but then again, if the clinic is priority, so is the family. You can't ignore one for the cost of another. So one should know how to balance personal and professional life astutely. So you ought to understand that. Then the 8th factor I mentioned is devotion wise. So you should use the word, I use the word, say my boss, I opened up my clinic as I told on 1st Jan 2000, but I was working in a morning OPD. I opened up my clinic only in the evening OPD for the next 3.5 years or so. So in 2001 or 2, I was working in a nursing home as in charge of the dental wing. So there my boss told me that ours is a new dental wing. Sometimes you will have patients, sometimes you will have not. ये प्राइवेट प्रैक्टिस जो है ये तपस्या है. इस पे आपको अपनी तशरीफ़ टिकानी पड़ेगी. जो तशरीफ़ टिकाएगा वही नोट कमाएगा. दैट वाज वन लेसन आई हैव नेवर फॉरगॉटन इन माय लाइफ. सो इट इज़ लाइक अटोनमेंट और अ तपस्या आई विल से. सो इफ़ यू आर फ्री, use that time to update yourself. There is n amount of literature available. We didn't have that access in my or me or my colleagues or me or my friends didn't have that access during say my college time or during my study time. But now we have all the option to update in all the spheres. There are various ways to update yourself. Then the ninth is the spirituality wise. I always say, have faith in God and your luck. Your due will come to you surely, sooner or later. The only thing is you should learn how to trust. I always use this one line in my lectures also. Nobody has a FDR or a FD of patients. किसी के पास पेशेंट्स की एफडी नहीं है. मेरे पड़ोसी के पास, मेरे सीनियर के पास, मेरे जूनियर के पास, मेरे कलीग के पास, किसी के पास नहीं है. दैट वो अगले महीने बैंक जाएगा और एफडी तोड़वा के पेशेंट ले आएगा. All of us, who decides that? He who is sitting upstairs. It is his duty to feed all of us. So leave some things to him. Do not leave everything to him, of course. Do leave some things to him. If you don't have patients, if let's suppose you're earning an X amount, let's suppose 10,000 is the average amount you earn in a month. Just don't take it seriously, but just take. If you have earned say 2,000 or 4,000 in a month, maybe around 20 to 40% of the X amount, if the next month turns out to be 30,000, what does that mean? You have covered up for the last month's average. You have covered up for 1.5 months average later on, adding the previous month as well. Then you will thank God. Always the figures are to be taken annually. The monthly system has been made by us. The income tax, the other ones, they've all made the system in a annual wise. We always take a annual figure. And so lastly but not the least and very important point, the 10th factor, I'll say emotions wise. You got to have a control over your emotions every time. You ought to be very strong in that aspect. Sometimes you might be sitting idle for the whole day. Again, I'm talking for the new practice or the about to open up new practices. So might be sitting up for the whole day and the mind is really heated up. And when you're about to close, a denture sharp point patient turns up. Or a 5-unit bridge case. Or a 2-unit implant case turns up. So you should learn or know how to control your emotions in all these scenarios. Never get too excited, never get too agitated. Both the things. Never have a greedy tongue-like situation, man mein laddu futa approach, as we see in the Cadbury laddu advertisement. So, and don't start the work immediately because you have been sitting vacant for the whole day, bypassing all the protocols, the medical, radiographic, just to earn a quick buck because you have been not been earning that day. So don't use a sharp tongue to the former and don't use a silver tongue to both. Always remember, if you set a free bird idiom. If you set a bird free, if it comes back, it was yours. I mentioned that day about this idiom that some of us try to book the patient by say taking an X amount. That does not guarantee you. That doesn't guarantee you that the patient will come back always. So these were the 10 factors I always advise people to be aware of. Because these are the ones, these will make a difference to your practice. As regards the query on the target group and the charges. So if you open up the clinic, the patient source of referral and socioeconomic background helps you tell it. I told via a demo on that day, learn to distinguish what portion of your income is driven by which specialty in your practice. You might be a periodontist. You might be a prosthodontist, but your maximum income might be through root canals or crowns and bridges. So it does not mean that the patients will follow your specialty accordingly. So learn to, that is why the term master of you came in. So learn to understand what factor is contributing to your economics of the clinic. Again, I will go back to that scenario. Practice management without the knowledge of finance is zero. Unfortunate part is that most of us chose +1 medical because we hated maths. I was pushed into medical. I loved math, but I was pushed into medical by my dad. Unfortunately, this became my profession and I love my profession. I have no second thoughts about it. Given a choice, given a chance, in my next birth, I would still love to be a dentist because I really understand the power and the whatever I can say, the passion associated with this profession, which is enormous. So the third question is how to direct your consultation, especially when it is going neutral, knowing you have to help the patient make a decision. I always believe that you should not push the options. I said in that live session also that day, never push your options like a car salesman. You're not selling a car. Even you're not selling a product either. we are selling our services, which we have acquired, just take the call, cut the, which we have acquired after a lot of hard work. So always spend some time on consultation and let the patient sleep over it. But before that, as I said, you should be, as I said that day also, devise the plan here, write it down, sleep over it, and then lay out in front of the patient. Be cautioned, patients are always Googled these days, doubly qualified, as I said. So never underestimate their say knowledge about it. Let me give you a scenario. A patient comes to you for a missing tooth. You are not doing implants. You advise a bridge. The patient listens to you, what is done in a bridge. You reduce the adjoining teeth and you make a bridge. Different kind of options are there, right from metal to ceramic to zirconia to metal free, whatever options are there. You detail out all the options in the next 10-15 minutes of consultation. After the end of those 15 minutes, you are waiting for a positive reply from the patient. Obviously, it is a human tendency. When you make a good presentation, you always want to end up on the positive side. But then what? At the end of 15 minutes, a one line by the patient really pisses you off. Doctor, इसमें implant नहीं कर सकते. Can't we do an implant over here? What? All the hopes and the aspirations bite a dust at that very moment. That is where you have to be doubly cautioned. I told you on that day also, a Supreme Court ruling of 2007 or 8 clearly says whether or not patient can afford it, and whether or not you are offering it, the patient has to be given an option in the ascending order of what it is available universally or all over the world. That means if the patient has a missing tooth, the patient has to be given an option of an implant, number one. Whether or not you are offering it or not, via consultant, not via consultant, that is a secondary matter. Secondly, whether the patient can afford it or not. Remember these two factors. You have to make it very clearly that yes, this is the number one option, but I am not doing it. Or I am doing it, but my consultant is doing it. A few of us are very skeptical to just lay it down to the patient, fearing that the patient would run away. That is where the problem comes. So we ought to let go of our insecurities in our clinic. Unless you let go of your insecurities, you cannot grow in life. That is for sure. So I have written a quote over it also. Insecurity stems from the infertile mind. So make your minds more fertile to grow more positively in a different direction. So is demography related to pricing? That is a very interesting question. The only thing is pricing is not related to demography only. It is a matter of situation, strategy, costs, competition, services, categorization in states like a season, weather, instinct, and a combination of a few or all of the above. So pricing depends upon various factors. I always say demography or not, number one, you should be aware of your figures and numbers. Unless you are sure of your figures and numbers, you cannot grow tangibly. How will you measure growth? मेरा इस साल का खर्चा, my expenses for last year were 50,000, just suppose. My income for the whole year was 1 lakh, let's suppose. So technically I have earned 50%. This year my expenses are 75,000, but my income is also 125,000. What does that mean? The difference might be still 50,000, but the percentage-wise difference has differed. The expenses have outgrown the 50% mark. What does that tell you? That maybe if your expenses are on the higher side, then only two things are possible. Either you are not serious or your patients are not serious. If you are not serious means you are not charging your patients properly. You are not making a hay while the sun shines, idiom goes true. Or if your patients are not serious, they are not getting their treatment completed, or They are not paying you on time. You have a lot of credit in your clinic and a log book associated with that. So you have to understand where are you faltering or following. Okay, the next query was managing relatives or medicos into our practice. I always believe any clinic should have its set of policy and guidelines, and these will help say decide that what policy you want to follow. There are again two kinds of relatives: those you who detest or those you like. You can't charge full from those you like, and you can't charge full, you don't want to leave anything from those you detest. So make a frame a policy, frame a guideline, frame a similar one for the medicos. So relatives, or say these come in 10% discount, 15% discount, and then the normal ones for medicals maybe in 20% discount. Whatever you decide, I'm not against offering discounts to known relatives or medicals, but to a normal patient, my answer is a strict no. And I always believe these should be conveyed beforehand. I never believe in telling the charges later on, so as to cut a sorry figure later on. I don't want to carry home that baggage that I overcharge or undercharge that patient. So my charges remain the constant, be it the local patient, be it the NRI. Again, there will be two thoughts about it, that we ought to charge more from the NRIs. But I have never done it in my practice since the beginning, and I am not against those who are doing it. This is my way of working, this is my policy of the clinic, and I am adhering to that policy. So frame your own policy, what you want to, how much you want to afford. Kindly don't fall into that paradigm that where you increase the charges and then increase 20% later on. If you don't want to decrease charges, make it clear in the first visit. The only problem is that पेशेंट पूछता पूछता मर जाता है, डॉक्टर साहब बता तो दो, एस्टिमेट बता तो दो, नहीं 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 कोई बात नहीं, आप बैठो बैठो बैठो, कोई बात कर लेंगे, बाद में एंड में कर लेंगे. एंड व्हेन दैट एंड कम्स, वी कट अ सॉरी फिगर. आपने पहले बताया नहीं, आपको पता तो होना चाहिए, इतना होता है. वाई डू वी वॉन्ट द पेशेंट टू एज्यूम और प्रिज्यूम? Why? Just for the fear of insecurity of losing that patient. That is why I said, get rid of the insecurities of your practice, of your mind first. Make your minds more fertile. Okay, how to break the mindset and create value. Patient does not value the dentition. Example, self-diagnosis and treatment plan. Doc, kindly extract the tooth. The only thing is, such patients are made to sign a consent form in my practice that whatever we are doing as per our own discretion, and our doctor holds no responsibility in that, since the treatment plan was ours. I tell it verbally first. I tell them clearly. Believe me, 50% of the decisions are overturned at that time only. Those who kind of dictate me treatment plan. Then, if I know that the treatment plan is a faulty one and I have a better option, obviously, again, as I said, the factors in sixth number factor I mentioned in that list of 10, scale wise. If my skills, my mindset, my knowledge says that yes, this ought to be, have a better treatment plan, I will obviously advise a better one as per my acumen. Again, I will not mince words in saying this. Colleagues, do take a shortcut and say given according to patient's demands. And God forbid, if anything bad happens at the end, the patient is going to do like this: I'm not the doctor, you are the doctor, you should have known better. And if it is a MLC scenario, who knows? Or we all know who is. A couple of network issues, a couple of small videos, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute you might be having, but don't worry, whatever I've said in those 30 seconds or a 1 minute video, I'll be repeating over here. So just let me know whether this video is audible and visible to you all, then only I move ahead, so that I don't repeat those things again and again. Am I visible and audible to all of you? Can you please send me a couple of highs and hellos so that I can know whether I'm there or not? Okay. Not live? ਇੱਥੇ ਤਾਂ ਆ ਗਿਆ. Okay, I think I'm live now, so I'll be continuing from that part. So the query was there: if the patient comes to know that you have a better treatment plan, than what I was having in my mind, or what he was having in his mind, I mean to say, so definitely he's going to choose you. Never ever undermine the power of your consultation. Just even if you are a second or a third consultation for the patient, believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, believe in your skill set, believe in your way of conveying to the patient. Again, don't cross the line, don't be a car salesman. So kindly stick to what your basics tell you. My session was here only getting your basics right. Get your basics right first. If you lack in communication, kindly improve it. Nobody was born with an inborn talent. Yes, there are a few exceptions, but nobody was born with a talent of dentistry inside. Nobody was born with a talent of communication inside. So you really ought to understand that wherever you lack, and my mom always says one thing, that a person can lie to the whole world, he cannot lie to the mirror. So whatever we project ourselves in the front of the world, if we know what exactly is true in it or not, so we really need to understand it. So do a honest consultation, devoid of any bias, devoid of any personal benefit, and then direct the same towards that. So I see a few people watching now, coming in now. I was cut off from that point. This video is continued from that point only. In between there were three videos of 15 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe a minute or so, but whatever content I have spoken in that, I have carried forward again in this live video, which is continuing right now. So no issues, you haven't missed off. And I'll request the admins also to later on delete those small videos, so that there are no confusions. So the first video was around 30, 33, 34 minutes, and this one whatever time it will continue for that matter. I hope I'm clear regarding the treatment value, or the second part of the question is how to break the mindset and create the value. The point is that most of us believe in this fact that patient comes to us for pricing. I told you an example on that day. If pricing was the only criteria, why did Tata Nano fail? If pricing is the criteria, why will someone not buy a fruits which are at 100 rupees kgs? I'll be giving you at 20 rupees kg, but they are 5 to 6 days old. Will you buy that? No, because we always value our health more than anything else. And unfortunate part is that we, the doctors ourselves, value our health lesser than other colleague. The relevance of that factor here is that most of us don't have a medical insurance, and that is where the fault comes. Either we should be financially very, very sound. If not, do have a health insurance. So that is besides the point. The point is, if the patient understands the value, and the value is not only by a single factor. The value is not only by the treatment skill. Your neighbor might be offering a similar skill set, or maybe better than you. Why will the patient choose you? That is where the differentiator has to come in. You have to create your own differentiator. The whole package of services should be available. Every week I have at least 2 patients saying me one point: we come to you because you don't make us wait, number 1. Number 2, we come to you because you have all our records with you. Record keeping and zero waiting time, just to give you an example, are one of the 2 big differentiators. And every week I get 2 such patients. Again, don't think that this is the whole scenario out of it, but what I mean to say is these are the 2 points which can be real. These are very trivial points, which say zero waiting time or maybe medical record keeping. What relevance does it has to our treatment part? The patient values the overall aspect. Yes, the clinic decor comes in that, your behavior comes in that, your staff behavior, your get up, your say way of greeting, your communication skills, your understanding of the patient's problem. Be empathetic, do not be sympathetic. There is a stark difference between the 2 terms. What I mean to say here is that kindly try to understand the difference. Most of the patients have this problem. डॉक्टर ने हमारी बात ढंग से सुनी ही नहीं. The doctor did not listen to our chief complaint properly. The patient speaks, मैं पानी पीता हूँ, मेरे दांत में ठंडा लगता है. You know, ठंडा पीने से रिलीफ मिलता है, तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? We all know it. Why do the hell we need to speak it up? Be a patient listener. Watch more, speak less, observe body language, listen more. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We all waste in. If the patient has chosen you, obviously you are the best in his eyes in amongst all the 8-10 available in your area for most of the patients. So why do we need to really go blah 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 and ga over it? We need to understand the difference. If the patient has come to us, he wants us to lend a very sympathetic ear, offering empathy from our side. Listening is an unspoken art, an art of caring. William Osler sir has said it. So listening is an unspoken art of caring. So be a better listener. Try to speak less and listen more. Unfortunately, we do the reverse, and that is where the most of the problems come. Okay, let's come to the next query. What if someone has started with loans and on a rented place? How should he prioritize his stuff? Clearing dues, debt, or focus on saving? So I'll again answer this in 2 parts. Number 1, I am dead against loans. Being a banker's son, my dad was a banker in SBI for 34 years, and he never ever let me take a loan. Obviously, this is not practically possible in today's scenarios, because none of us wants to put an extra burden on our parents when we want to open up the practice, or maybe going in for the PG part, if we are. So even if we are opening up the clinic, we don't want to open up in a very shabby kind of a place, or just for the sake of opening, we are opening up, because it is a competitive environment today, and we all have to be have to indulge in one man upship for the same. So the reason is, obviously, let the first part is, wherever possible, avoid the loans whatever best you can. If not, if the loans are unavoidable, keep them to very minimum. Now the part, how should we prioritize saving or this thing? I always say a dentist has to minimum earn 20% of his savings, gross savings. I gave the example on the board that day. Many of the points will be related to. Obviously, I do understand some of these queries have come up because the visuals were not very clear that day. So if even people have the problem of buffering or visibility of screen today, so their bandwidth might be at the dot, because where I am sitting, my modem is right in say on my right side. You can say practical, I'm sitting on the top of the modem itself, so there cannot be a better connectivity than what I am. Obviously, I was cut off a few minutes ago because of that, but then that is a different story altogether. What I mean to say is that the network issues should not be there. If still you have it, then check out the bandwidth at your end first. So if you keep the loans down to minimum and always save 20%, what I mean to say is, if you are grossing around say 2 lakhs per month, your 40,000 minimum should go in saving. I always believe that you ought to save for your retirement. Always believe that it should start as early as possible, and that 20% should be from the gross income. Gross income, net income is always a confusing term. Gross income is the term usually we use for over the counter collection or the total collection in a month. So the net is after the expenses. I gave a formula of budgeting that day. So what budgeting formula we follow is normal acceptable universal applicable rule is 50 30 20. So 50% of your income, this is after income from clinic, after deducting the expenses of the clinic. Let's suppose your clinic income is 2 lakhs. Let's I said that day most of the clinics would have the expenses in the range of 35 to 40 to maximum 50%. Most of the clinics. If your expenses are on the higher side, I told earlier in my first video of 34 minutes today, either you are wrong somewhere or your patients are wrong somewhere. So you are wrong might be on the charging part. You're not charging optimum, you're not making full use of your skills, so you need to understand that. Okay, for most of the dentists, the charges fall in the range of 45 to 50%, or maybe 55 maximum. So in the range of that, let's keep it the figure at 50%. So 2 lakh is your gross income. 1 lakh your clinic expenses, that would include all the material, lab bills, staff salaries, or any other kind of EMIs or clinics, whatever you are paying. Let's deduct that for the time being. So you're left with 1 lakh per month. I'm talking on that 50-30-20 rule is applied. 50-30-20 rule says 50% of your income towards your housing bills, means your drawings or your personal expenses. Then we are all human beings. We all will have wants. We'll want to dine out. We'll want to have a movie. We want to have an entertainment. We want to have a vacation also. So that 30% is allocated to there. 50,000, 30,000, and the remaining 20% goes to your financial goals. Maybe paying off your house EMI, or maybe for saving for your retirement, or maybe paying off your any kind of other debt apart from clinic. So what does that figure of 20% from 2 lakh leave you? Where does that 20% leave you? Practically 20,000. 20, because 50-30-20 was from 1 lakh. So the overall figure is 20,000, which is 10%, which is an acceptable figure for a common man. I mentioned that day also in my live session, the figure we have to take into account, because we have 10 years lesser than our normal other colleagues. Another 10 peak years less than them. They have around 4 decades to earn. We have around 3 decades to earn. They have around 25 to 30 years of peak sometimes. We have less than that, maybe 15 to 20. So you have to save doubly. So that is where I have made a formula myself, which I call as the formula going by my name, the Bhavdeep formula. So which I always fondly say is that it is an alternative one. It is basically a 45-15-40 formula. Rather than 50-30-20, deduct say 15 from your wants, 5 from your needs, add them in your retirement. So make it a 45, 15, and 40, 40. So 45 will go to your housing and bills, 15 allocated to your wants, dining, vacation, entertainment, or whatever, and the 40% should go towards saving for your retirement. Retirement needs, goals should not be compromised at any cost. It is sinful, it is sorrowful to ask for money from kids in your old age life. Most of us are self-employed. Even those who are in colleges are not going to have any kind of pension. So you have to save for yourself. Plus, do remember, many of us do not have a professional indemnity. Leave that point for a minute. Even if we do have it, most of us believe or know it, we don't follow the exact amount of ergonomics, which means that a comfort zone rated dentistry. We do dentistry as per our own comfort zone. Of course, not all, I will say. So the back and the neck do take a toll. And when they take a toll on our body, we ought to remember that we will not be able to last beyond a certain age or beyond a certain amount of time. So I always tell colleagues to set a bar or set a line for retirement at the age of 55. If you can continue after that, wonderful. Please do continue. Please do continue doing dentistry. I'm not saying do retire at 55, but keep a bar, keep an age in mind. Because for any goal or say any target to be achieved, you need to have something in mind. I'm 35 today. I want to retire at 55. So what do I mean to that? How much should I save in the next 20 years? That is for setting a benchmark. That is for setting a long-term or a short-term goal. So if you're 35, maybe your kids are around 5 years of age, maybe 2 years of age. The next goal would be their education. Then the next higher education. Maybe you plan a second child also. Then planning a second child again is not a cheap expense. Followed by that, again the education for that, higher education for the second child. Then comes their marriage part, first child, second child. So you have to think and plan accordingly. So if your child is about 2 years or 3 years, when you are 35, he'll not be going to be marriageable age when you want to retire, 55. So remember that you have to deal it in such a scenario where you have a good amount of corpus. So how much is enough? I always believe that in today's times, I'm not talking of 20 years later from now. In today's times, if somebody has 3.5 to 4 crore rupees, he can safely aim to retire. That is the benchmark I set today. Obviously, with inflation figures setting up and increasing the cost and decreasing the value of money. If you have 1,000 rupees, it is going to decrease in value after 1 year. Whatever figures the government might be giving, but average cost of living increases by 10% every year. We cannot say ignore that part. I hope I'm clear in that. So coming to the next query, what about current account should be joint or single if wife is a dentist? See, I mentioned on that day, the current account does not make any difference whether it is in your name or clinic name, number one. Then whether even it is a current account or not, it does not make any difference to the IT department. I detailed it out very clearly on that day. So as per the banking norms, I'm telling you very, very clearly, as per the banking norms, even if the account is a 2 holder or a 3 holder or even a 4 holder account, banks allow up to 4 holders even. So it may be a E or S for 2 holders. What I mean is either or survivor or a jointly operated account, or for 3 holders it is like A or S, anyone or survivor account. As per the law, the money belongs to the first holder. What I mean to say in this regard, it is not that even if it is jointly operated, the scenario is different. Whosoever is the first name, the tax liability of the account, the interest income of the account belongs to the first holder. It is as clear in income tax department laws and as per the banking laws. The mode of operation might be different. The money overall belonging might be different. I'm saying it is, if it is not a partnership account. I'm mentioning cases of single account. We are dealing with the clinic cases. I'm not dealing with the whole amount of income tax here today. I'm just dealing with the clinic cases. We all self-employed professionals, clinic, husband, wife, all those together. So even if your wife is a dentist, whether he or she has a single name or a joint name, the money belongs to the first holder liability wise. Remember that. It is always better to have an account in that person's name, in whose name the clinic is and whose name the final tax liability will fall upon. I hope I'm very clear in that. So don't, the next query is, don't we as professionals come under flat 50% expenses and rest 50% amount is taxed irrespective of depreciation? This is a half day topic, but I'll still try to justify it in a short time, whatever I can. So see, there are two ways of, again, I'm talking of not the salaried part, the self-employed professionals or the clinicians like us. So there are two ways of calculating your tax liability. Number one is the conventional or the traditional way, which follows, which say files IT at 3. There are 7 types of IT returns, but 1 and 2 are meant for salaried, 3 and 4 are for self-employed. Just to broadly categorize for even the beginners out there who are listening to my session or who attended that day also, because many of the links of today's queries will be in that session. So if you haven't watched it, you can catch the video out. They are here on the WDA platform also, and they are on my FB wall also. So as I mentioned, the conventional system or the traditional system where we have the income on one side and the expenses on one side, that is the traditional conventional system. In that we calculate the depreciation of individual equipments of our clinic also, and that will include the furniture and fixtures, the electrical equipments, dental machinery, our computer equipments or laptop or any other similar assets which are capitalized. See, if you buy a asset or a equipment, we don't deduct its whole expenses. A portion of it is capitalized. What it means, it is only a small amount. In most of the dental equipment, it is 15%, 15%, which is taken into account, and that is capitalized as a portion of the expense. What does that mean? अगर आपने 1 लाख रुपए का सामान खरीदा है, then 15,000 will be added as the expenses. If that equipment is a dental one, and if it comes under the category of 15%. Most of the dental equipment have a depreciation rate of 15% unless specified otherwise on their catalog. Am I clear? So again, there are two parts further into this depreciation factor. If you buy after 2nd October, there is no relevance of Gandhi Jayanti over here. So if you buy after 2nd or 3rd October, you get half of depreciation of that part. The law or the rules is very simple in that the depreciation full is applicable if it is more than 180 days remaining, and if it is less than 180 days remaining, you get half depreciation for that. So just the example I gave, if you bought an equipment for 1 lakh, if you buy after 2nd October, if it is less than 180 days remaining, then you will get 7,500 depreciation for that year. What does it mean? It means the next year your depreciation will start from 92500. You will deduct 15% from 92500. 92500 means 1 lakh minus 7,500. So this is the portion. Even if you buy on the last day of the year, 31st March, as I said, today is a happy new year. So if you buy even on the last day of the year, you will still get 50% depreciation for that. So this is the part. So to simplify these things, late Shri Arun Jaitley ji, our past finance minister, he was a visionary. He might not be a very politically favored person, but he was a visionary. He dished out a presumptive taxation phenomenon for professionals in 2016 and 17, just after demonetization. So what he did was, he basically said all professionals, there is a section for traders. It comes by the name of 44AD. 44AD is the section which is for traders, in which they are allowed up to 1 crore or 2 crore of income. They are allowed up to 8% of their turnover is just taxed, and they have to do no paperwork. If they're doing it digitally, they have a 2% rebate, so they get it at 6%. Mr. Jaitley revised that section, rebooted that section into 44ADA, or the presumptive taxation scheme for the dentist, or for all professionals for that matter, lawyers, advocates, CAs, professionals, architects, interior designers, doctors, dentists, all self-employed professionals come into that category. It was meant to simplify our life. He simply made it a phenomenon that 2.5 lakh to 50 lakh, if you have an income between 2.5 lakh gross income, I'm talking 2.5 to 50 lakh, the range is 47.5 lakhs, into the big range. I believe 90 to 95% of the dentists are covered in that range. If you are earning even 50 lakhs a month, that 50 lakhs a year, that would mean 4,16,000 plus 4,16,666 rupees a month, and that is a huge figure for any normal middle class dentist. As I mentioned that day also, my target group is the predominantly the middle class dentist only. So if you are earning between 2.5 lakh to 50 lakhs, you definitely can avail of the presumptive taxation scheme. So what is that scheme which Mr. Jaitley laid out for us? That scheme says that irrespective of what your expenses are, 50% of your gross income, or means over the counter collection, will be assumed as your expenses. You do not have to maintain any bills. You do not have to maintain any format for maintaining bills. The only thing you need to maintain is the source of income, and for that he gave a form 3C, a very simplified system, 3 columns, 4 columns in that. Most of you are using form 3C in a manual form in your clinics, by the name of register D. A register D, when transformed or say transported digitally, is known as form 3C. So I can share the format if you want. I'll be sharing only. Just hold on for a second. I'll be sharing the format of form 3C over here on my computer. It is a very simplified version. Just check it out, please. If you can see, form 3C, form of daily case register. So it has date, serial number, patient name, name of professional service rendered, fee received, and date of receipt. So this is form 3C. So as per the guidelines, we just have to maintain the source of income in that. The advantage is no need of a CA. No need of a CA practically. Why? Because ITR 4, also known as SUGAM in the IT department language, ITR 4 is the simplest ITR I know. ITR 1 was the simplest one for the salaried people. It is also known as Saral. So it has become Jatal now after the new tax regime, of course. But ITR 4 is the simplest ITR 4 that I know. And when I take a 2-day hands-on on teaching people how to make the balance sheet and how to file the IT returns, I teach them how to file, file the ITR also. Believe me, apart from KYC, there are practically 6 or 7 columns to be filled. 6 or 7 columns only. So what else do we need? Plus, you get freedom from filing 4 installments of advanced tax. Advanced tax, most of the dentists are not filing, but if anybody has a tax liability of more than 10,000, which roughly means that if your income is above 4.5 lakh per year, that means around 37 to 38,000 per month. Most of us are earning beyond that. We know it. We all know it. But still we are not aware about the advanced tax just because our CAs haven't made it available or made it available to our knowledge. So if you are having an income of above 4.5, more or less, your tax liability is more than 10, then you are supposed to file 4 installments of advanced tax. 44AD or presumptive system makes it very easy for us to not file those 4 installments of advanced tax. We need to pay sorry, we need to pay only 1 installment of advanced tax, and that too on before March 15. What does that mean? It is already the 350th day of the year and only 15 days are left after it. So by 350 days of the year, you're already almost sure how much income are you gonna have or how much you already had. In the next 15 months, you all have an idea how much income is going to come. Of course, discount is these days of coronavirus. I'm just talking of the normal case scenario. So by 15th March, you know it. So you can easily calculate yourself and pay your tax accordingly. Then, number one, it is not compulsory. The question was, aren't we taxed that way? It is not compulsory for us to follow this system. Most of the CAs, whenever I hold workshops, people are not even aware of it, or the CA has misguided them in a way. This is the simplest ITR. Even I said the range is 47.5 lakhs. Somebody earning close to 49 lakhs a year. 49 lakhs a year is not a small amount. Even he can avail this scheme. So what I already said, 90 to 95% dentists would be falling in this scenario. So we have to decide which we follow. So yes, when we talk of 50% expenses, the aspect of depreciation I mentioned before, depreciation is also counted into that only. So there are a few scenarios when you can't say avail of this AD 44 AD, or you have to go in for an audit. If you want to claim a higher, say lower profit, you say my expenses are not 50%, they are about 70%. I just have 30%. You might be falling in the range of 2.5 to 50 lakhs, but your expenses are on the higher side, 70% of the expenses. Let's suppose you say out of 49 lakhs, I have 34 lakhs of expenses. Then you need to undergo an audit from the CA. Yes, your bills will be verified in that, and then only you can be clear. But then if the second case scenario is if your income is below 2.5 lakhs, in that case also you have to undergo an audit. So if you want to claim a higher profit means you say my expenses are 30%, I want to claim 70% profit, you don't need an audit for that. Government is happy to give you a higher profit, because the higher profit you declare, obviously your tax liability will be higher. So government does not really mind getting more tax. So I think this aspect is clear, but it is not mandatory. for all of you to follow the system. If you are happy with following the conventional or the traditional ITR3 or the system traditional system that it is, you're free to go that. And believe me, out of the 4 returns applicable on all of us salaried and self-employed, ITR3 is the most complex one, and it is about 33-34 pages, and you can't file it yourself. You will need definitely the help of a CA in that, and there are so many columns to be filled up, and you obviously are gonna make a mistake if you fill it on your side. Okay, so the next query is, sir, 2 lakh deposit in saving account is per week, per day, or per month? I mentioned that day that about the cash expenses part. The cash expenses, I mentioned that you cannot receive a payment of above 2 lakhs in cash, even for divided installments or even for a divided dates or a month. You can't do that really. Why I say that? Because the cash laws have been amended now. So similar case scenario, when you ought to keep a account for your clinic, can be saving, can be current. The saving accounts come with a rider. Most of the banks, as per, of course, there might be little variation as per the, say, account variant type, but for most of the banks allow home or non-home branch banking. What does it mean? That if I have my account in A area of the city and I'm living in the B area of the city, so I can deposit in the B area, the bank which is there, unless I want to transfer the account over here. So if I am depositing here, my account, my money gets credited into my A account, which is in that other area, and bank incurs no charges on that. So home or non-home banking charges have been not discriminated, except for a few leached banks, I say. One of the leached bank is State Bank of India, and the second leached bank I hate is HDFC. No personal bias, please don't take it otherwise. But I don't like those banks at the banking. Maybe my personal experience with those banks has not been very good. But then those are the banks which charge you for a non-home cash deposit. So they will keep on charging you like leached banks. So that is why I named them leached banks. Most of the other banks do not charge you for non-home banking. So even if home or non-home, 2 lakh is usually the upper limit for a saving bank deposit. Current account, there are no limits on deposits or withdrawal. Again, slight variation might be there depending upon the account variant type. Okay. As the stock market is crashing and dentistry does not look like coming into main lines till June, July. So is it a good chance to invest in stocks? If someone needs to learn stock market, any YouTube channel you suggest to learn stock market and tips for investing? Boss, stock market is a bubble, and when it bursts, it entraps many people. I always believe that you should not jump or take a plunge into the market unless you are very, very sure or really knowledgeable about it. They might seem very lucrative on the face of it, but they might be very, very enticing to us, and we might land up in a soup destroying all our savings. See what has happened with the Yes Bank investors. Yes Bank was saved, but I know a few people who bought it at 270, 280, but then the share was lurking from 20 to 70 in the past few days. So obviously the ones who bought it at 20 again have a moratorium of 3 years imposed on that. They cannot sell more than 25% of their shares. But on a whole, for those who bought at a lesser price, 70 might be very lucrative. But for those who bought it at 300, 325, it was there. The future of the dictated at 450 even at one point of time, even 500 for that matter by some experts. But what about that? A share, it came down to say around 6 or 7 rupees also when the RBI placed a moratorium on it. So I always say that yes, it is a lucrative thing, but unless you have a knowledge, do not kindly jump into that thing. So yes, in dentistry, things don't seem to come to lines in a coming few months. I know that. But yes, people will be skeptical about coming to clinics, surely. But then I also believe that there might be a scenario where the gap between the so-called gap between the so-called I'm using the term deliberately, the so-called gap between the so-called rich and the poor dentist is gonna increase. The rich dentist who have maintained a standard, who have maintained a service, they are obviously gonna take more of precautions now, more of say these things to be on the safer side for their own safety and for their own patient safety. And when these sort of things happen, then obviously the costs are bound to go up. Anyways, there will be some recession, so the incomes are gonna reduce, but the costs are going to go up. But yes, those who have a setup already, they are sitting with their name and fame already, they will not take much of time in resuming their services. But yes, the people with the slightly lesser place scenario will have time catching up. But this gap is gonna grow wider. The rich are gonna get more richer, the poor are gonna get more poorer, because the poor patients are also gonna expect the same amount of considerations, or same amount of, or say rather enhanced amount of sterilization, or say medical norms being placed strictly and stringently, just because as I said, all of us are on smartphones and Google these days, and nobody can vouch that we are doing something else. Yes, a few might be indulging in hobbies, but all the more we are consuming all our daily data almost every day. So yes, if you want to still, if you have a knowledge and if you still want to invest, I will always say the picks should be the FMCG sector, the pharma sector, the insurance companies, maybe. Yes, and the ones I do not really want or suggest are the number one would be the say hotel industry, automobile, to an extent unorganized infrastructure and construction. The organized sector, believe me, whenever we talked about recession in the property in the past, a couple of years rather, I'll say, it was there in the unorganized sector only. It was not in the organized sector. Organized sector is the one which takes the payment everything in white. The flats, the housing colonies, or everything, where the funding is really in a white manner, I will say, or at least 70 to 80% amount is in white manner. The unorganized sector has the reverse part. The 20% is in the say white, and the rest 80% or 75% is in the black, you can say. Obviously there are no shades of gray in this, there are only white and black in the property rate. So unorganized sector, I'm really skeptical whether it will be there or not. So take your pick accordingly. Automobiles, hotels, to an extent aviation also. I'm not because remember, after all, aircrafts, having a chat with my friend the other day, the aircrafts are after all small pieces of machinery, and when they are laying off for 2 to 3 months sometimes, you expect the machinery to say there might be some damages in there might be more of repairs required, there may be more of maintenance cost, everything is gonna scale up. So imagine the cost will be on the higher side. Okay, next query is the last query on this list. With precautions and safety of we the dentists as the top priority in coming times of practice, how can we raise the journal bar of charges in an era of great economical slowdown without gathering much attention of our valued and trusted patients? See, those who value the health, they will understand the rising costs. They will understand that yes, if the visibility is there that your mode of barrier technique, if what I call is, if better enhanced and improved than before, they will not mind paying for their own safety. Why is everybody stuck at home right now? It is the fear of life, and jaan hai to jahan hai. And when there is a fear of life, no fear can be bigger than that. So your valued and your trusted patients are already your brand ambassadors. If they see you investing in better for them, definitely they are not going to hesitate paying you. I always believe healthcare will never lose its charm. Teeth, junk food is gonna remain in vogue. Teeth are going to be damaged. The only thing we need to stress upon is, as I mentioned in that in the session that day, the other I&E, The first IND we discussed today was the income and the expenses. The other IND, the information and the education part. So we need to really understand the difference between informing and educating the patients on this matter. So if you have a valued trust placed over them, you should not have any hassles in charging for them. And in any ways, I'm gonna be very sure that as I mentioned at the start, if the year starts happens on a auspicious day like it is today, an Ashtami, I never believe that the bad times are there for long. Okay, I'm gonna take up these are the queries which were given to me by the WDA team. I'm gonna have a quick look at the comment section and just take up a few queries if I can in the next 5-10 minutes before I wind up the session. If I can find. Sir, Samir Yadav says, if please elaborate about presumptive taxation. Samir, you joined in late. I have dealt in detail on this aspect, so you can watch the video later on, the second video, because we were cut off after 34 minutes. So I'll be placing the links on my FB wall also. So I've dealt with presumptive taxation in a huge depth today. So Shoaib Zubairi, sir, please tell how to respond when patients ask for discount in treatment. This also I took up in the discussion before, so kindly read it or kindly listen to the audio if you can, please. Okay. Any other queries if I can see? I'm just checking out. I hope all of you had your queries answered today. Those who were there, if there, I'm here for 5-10 minutes. You can post your queries if any there. Okay, live video. Yes, the video stopped because of network issues. Well, one thing I really requested that day and I'll request again today, please do post your honest feedback on the session that day. Obviously, I understand there were a few buffering issues that day. The network, the bandwidths have been shared. I put up a note for that also. But I think Audible was clear on that day also. And along with it, it is clear today also. So I've tried to interlink the two sessions of that day. A few aspects I've taken from there and covered it today also. So please do post your honest feedback to whatever you can. In the meanwhile, I'm checking out again. If there are any queries, you can post. I'm definitely gonna be answering them if I find anyone which are not being answered. So the real-time comments are there. Network issues, okay. Most relevant. Okay. So please do post your comments. Okay, very nicely explained, sir. Thanks to you for the effort, Ashwini Wadhwani. Thank you so much. These are the practical topics which have to be focused upon more. Of course, whenever I do a demo, I usually require a board along with, as I was giving the demo that day, but unfortunately there were some network issues which were not very favorable. So along with these few things, I like to mention that an approach should be there to always under promise and over deliver. Okay, so if we are saving around 20K per month, will we reach the target of 4 crores by retirement? Again, as I mentioned, there is a space called as time and money have to be put in that space. Don't expect a 4 crore in a 2-year time. Don't underestimate the power of compounding. Yes, if you go on saving 20,000 per month for 20 years, you will definitely end up much more than that. There are say SIP calculators available or maybe multipliers available online, freely available. Just check in, just adding a presumptive value of say maybe 10% interest. Let's suppose yes, the PPFs were slashed last night from 7.9 to 7.1. It was a heavy or a drastic drop. I have never seen a drop of more than 0.54 or 0.5%. But yes, 0.8% is a drastic drop. Yes, the returns in mutual funds have been very encouraging, barring the initial these setbacks which we had, and yes, the markets were to all low, all-time low, we can say. So believe me or not, I always expected the markets to break by at least corrected. We call it in Hindi or Punjabi बाजार टूट गया, or say the market broke up by this amount. A more sophisticated way to answer it, that the market corrected itself. It is a very sophisticated way to not feel the pinch and still get pinched. So that is the way. So if there are any queries, kindly do post. I am there. Sir, one thing Vijay Timbadia says, sir, one thing I want to know, that how to manage all clinic expense and saving. How to manage clinic expense and saving? You ought to be aware of your figures and numbers. If you, I mentioned at the start, you joined in late. If your expenses are more than 50% consistently and you're not investing in anything new, obviously, if you're investing in any equipments or assets, they are not fully capitalized. A portion of that is capitalized, or if I say they are, say, depreciation, they are put in as a depreciation, or a small amount of money, 15%, 10%, depending upon the category they fall in. So if you are not aware of your figures and numbers, and your expenses are more and profit is always less, then there ought to be two things wrong: either you or the patient. The patient is not paying you, or you're not charging them properly. So you have to understand where the fault lies. Unless you understand your mistake, unless you come face to face with it, unless you accept it, the change is not going to come. Believe me, in personal life, clinical life, professional life, whichever life, unless you accept it wholeheartedly, yes, I was wrong. Big term, big thing to say to oneself, but yes, the change begins from there only. So I have a few quotes for that. I do keep on writing various series in various journals on medical legal. This morning only I submitted a few fresh submissions. They will be up there on my FB wall. In any case, I'm just sharing the link of my articles. I think the links were not clear that day, so I'm just going to share my article links. If I have been writing for IDA Times also, so I've been writing for many finance journals also. If you want to download those all articles, they are all available on my website. So you can say download from the below link. I'm just going to share it for you. Just note down the links first. Okay. So the link goes by the name of my website only, drbhavdeep.com/ideatimes.html. So this is the link for all the Idea Times series articles. So I have been writing a series since January 2017. So all the articles are there till March 2020. 39 parts have been there. Then I write for with different journals for finance series also. The World Journal of Advanced Scientific Research and my Punjab State send in free a few, say, fresh submissions. This thing is available on finance, again on my website drbhavdeep.com, finance.html. So you can download all the old issues in that. There contains the mutual fund series will be there online very soon. The credit card series is there, a detailed 4-5 series issue on credit cards. Apart from this, I mentioned I run a few WhatsApp group. There are a few slots available. If anybody wants to be added in those WhatsApp group, I plan to keep it them till 5 only. So you can WhatsApp me on this number. And lastly, I have a paid group also for this, which has paid members, and it is for the annual subscription of 3,500, in which I take personalized guidance also. So in the last, I will appreciate and value if you can send me your valuable feedback on my number. So this is my number. So bouquets and brickbats both would be welcome in equal measure. So let me just take up one last round of queries, if any possible. If there are any queries, I'll be just checking up and then we call it a day. Okay, what to do when you have a single chair, small setup, and you're working and new patient comes and they usually don't even want 10 minutes wait and leave? How to manage that? I always advised a minimum 2 chair setup for every clinic, even if it's startup one. always have options in life. Options don't always spoil. Remember this line, because obviously there are limitations sometimes in the, you should have the scope for further expansion. People will always have a debate that दूसरी चेयर लूंगा तो और लोन क्या हो जाएगा. Many times you don't need even a bigger investment for a second chair. You just need the second chair, and the second chair need not be fully equipped model also. You can take it a normal one also, but always have a 2-chair setup, or at least have a scope for expansion for a 2-chair setup. And the system, I always advocate creating a system in place. The system creation does take time, and believe me or not, the system once settle, it'll make you settle also. There are no shortcuts to success. Nothing comes overnight. None of the formulas I told in my last session also will guarantee you or give you overnight success. But yes, persistence, persistence, and persistence. As I said, this is one trait I always encourage all dentists to have in them. Just hang in there, just be there, always be there, and yes, success will follow sooner or later. So it is a pleasure to listen to you on the very short. Thank you, Jagdish sir. It has always been listening. So okay guys, with this I wind up today's session. I hope again it was again 1.5 hour session today almost. Again, the first video would be around 34-35 minutes, and the next would be around again 50-55 minutes, I guess, with a break of 2 to 3 minutes in between. I really hope that my today's discussion, rather more than the queries part. The queries was just around 12 to 13, maybe 3-4 I picked up, 15-16, but I took 1.5 hours to specifically to explain a few aspects which maybe I might have missed up on that day. A few of them I repeated deliberately because I am very fond of repetition sometimes, because I know मेरे को एक बारी में बात समझ नहीं आती तो शायद बहुत सारे मेरे जैसे भी होंगे. तो I always believe in that. Again, don't take it seriously, that is on the lighter side. But of course, I hope that some of my discussions were handy to you. If you go through the full presentation, I have left up my number also, so kindly feel free to contact me. Please do post your feedback, because Ken Blanchard had said feedback is the breakfast of all champions, and without the feedback and without any scope for improvement, nobody can say really expect to hope or improve. Thank you so much. Once again, my big thanks is due to the admin whole team of WDA for giving me this platform to say be in touch with my colleagues in this hour of caution. I will say, I won't say hour of sorrow and sorrowness, but hour of caution where we all are really say skeptical. One thing I'll definitely like to say it in the end. I got many messages. Many people are in contact with me through my WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups. So they are really skeptical. Sir, 2 महीने अगर घर बैठना पड़ गया तो कैसे करेंगे, कैसे चलेगा हमारा खर्चा. I didn't reply them back, but yes, this is a platform I can share my views openly without mincing any words, without being on any bias or without naming anyone. बॉस, अगर आपका प्रोफेशन आपको 2 महीने की सिक्योरिटी भी नहीं दे सकता, if you can't live for 2 months on your so many years of income, then it's better you change your profession. You don't deserve to be in dentistry, frankly. It is a very powerful profession. Our profession has the power to earn you 3 to 4x in 6 to 7 days. अगर आपके 20, 22, 23 दिन भी खाली जाएंगे महीने में, तो then the rest months you can expect you can expect that you will be rewarded always. And remember, this is a tough time, and like always, this too shall pass. Okay guys, signing off here. I hope it was of some worth to all of you. Thank you so much all of you for watching once again. The 2 videos will be there. The short videos of 15-30 seconds which were there would be repeated by the admin team. So finally there will be 2 videos. They'll be there on the WDA platform also and on my FB wall also. So those who join later can watch it on those links always. So take care, make good use of your holidays, and stay connected. Bye bye, take care.